Who's this hairdresser that gives you these fancy haircuts each time?
He's good. He's the only guy I trust in Florida. His name's Bernie. Bernie Barbershop on Spring Hill Drive. He's really good.
He is. I actually went to a hairdresser recently that ruined, well, not that I've got good hair going or anything like that, but I was noticing I got this weird thing where the side hair here doesn't grow fully. Like it doesn't grow, it only grows like this long. It doesn't grow like the rest of the hair. So it was like not going fully back. I got annoyed with it. So I went to this barber to cut a bit of the hair. He cut from here to the side. So look at this. So now I got to make a decision. I was already annoyed with the long hair. Huh?
You didn't want him to do that, right?
No, I wanted him to cut like this part. And not only that, but he also cut like bits of long hair from here by accident and then told me I did it privately at home, which is not true. But I didn't want to push him. So I was like, it's all right. Don't worry about it. So the point is now I'm thinking of actually cutting off the hair, which would be honestly relieving.
Usually there's good barbers in California. I couldn't find any barbers in Tampa for a while.
Really? No, we got some good ones here. But
in Tampa, that's good. But my area, that was like really bad. Yeah.
How did you decide on your area to move in Florida? I forgot.
It's a gold mine here, dude. Like my property value is up like, I think my house is up 70,000 since I bought it. Wow. And I bought it I bought it 6 years ago. It was a gold mine, man. Like we had a friend we knew some people that lived here. Not many people know about Spring Hill because the house in Tampa is about double. Tampa, Orlando is about double than what we pay here. House taxes, we paid nothing, dude. Like for instance, the same house in Tampa, Orlando, you're paying $6,000 to $8,000 in fucking house tax. We only pay $2,000 a year in house tax.
Wow, brilliant! I hate those like land taxes and stuff like that.
It's horrible, dude. Like you might as well rent a house sometimes.
I know.
Sometimes how bad the house tax is.
And it's also upsetting just because you own the land. You're not supposed to be charged for something you own already. It's really annoying.
I didn't pay it for the longest because I didn't even know about it, and they were sending it to the wrong address. And I was like so upset. Like, man, like buying is not as like cool as everyone makes it seem, because when you buy, everything's your responsibility.
You have all these other costs. You have this tax, and then you have all these other costs. Exactly. So we have to catch up on some things. So we were talking on text, but we didn't go into detail. I wanted to know if you wanted to talk about it here, about your latest blood test results. If you don't, I totally understand.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
So what happened? We didn't talk about it in great detail. And by the way, I empathize with you. And I was going to tell a story also about like, I was trying to relate to you and the way you're thinking personally last night after we talked. And I think I empathize a lot. But anyway, what happened with your recent blood test?
So I got my recent blood work back. I went and drawed blood on the 18th of March. I got my results the next day by myself. Because remember I told you I know the back way now?
Yeah.
So my creatinine is 6.93. My bun was 96, went up to 111. I'm spilling more protein. My phosphorus was raising. My potassium was still in range. Everything else was in range, but everything was worse. The urea, nitrogen, the bun, everything was worse. But it's fucking weird, man. Like today in the gym, I got to talk to you about that too. Maybe even off the camera about a pec. I need to get this pec tear fixed, dude, because I went into the gym today and I felt really good. Felt really fucking good. And I went as heavier than I have gone in like years. I mean, I probably since 6 years, the heaviest I ever went on flat bench. And I was strong at it. Like I could have got this weight that I usually never go for a good amount of reps. And on the third rep, I felt my pec tear, like it was going to tear again.
Okay, that's literally the story I was going to say about empathizing with you, but I'll tell it later. It's about tear, yeah.
But yeah, remember I tore it before completely. And then this time, and I never got it worked on. This time I was doing flat bench. I felt the tear and I'm like, I'm going to do one more rep. I'm going to see how it feels. I did one more rep and I had a spotter. Thank God. I go rack it. One more rep, it would have blew right off. It would have blew right off the bone, 100%. I'm still in pain right now. Like it's hard for me to. So I contacted Dave. He gave me a referral to an orthopedic, and I'm gonna go get it checked at because, I mean, dude, my chest doesn't grow anyway. So if it's a 6-month recovery, I hope they can fix it.
It's the perfect time to do that as well, right? Because you could use the layoff anyway.
Perfect time because we're gonna try for kids. So I'm gonna go back down to TRT, and I'm gonna do my fertility protocol. It'd be a perfect time. So I hope they could do it, man, because some surgeons, they won't work on a pec tear that's been torn for 6 years.
I'd like to mention also, by the way, I think that trying for kids now is also a good idea because, by the way, it becomes way more difficult as like if you're going to get a replacement or something, in that time period, your sperm will really be not functioning well. So you want to do it a little bit.
I don't think it's functioning that well anyways with the kidney failure because remember, we tried for 1 or 2 months. No, 1 month. 2 months when I was in kidney failure and we didn't have any luck, which was weird, but I didn't know I was in kidney failure at the time. I was taking the FTTP and the HCG and the HMG to get when I was trying to get her pregnant. I was taking all three of them. That's when I had blood in my cum. I'm like, babe, I don't think I'm going to get you pregnant with this bloody cum.
FTP. Okay, that's too far, but no, that's insane. But what I was gonna say is this, though. I think what's going on though when you're in kidney disease is you have a lot of oxidative stress in your actual semen. In the semen, like by the way, the sperm need antioxidants in the semen to protect them, just to keep them alive. So maybe something you could do this time that you didn't do before is like go to an IV vitamin clinic. I don't know if you can do this with chronic kidney disease. I don't know if it's potentially dangerous. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the opposite. But like to do IV glutathione and IV vitamin C, like twice.
I'm doing IVs on myself for glutathione.
Perfect. Yeah. And vitamin C, by the way, IV is very different than if you do vitamin C orally. It's way
I did get a vitamin C glutathione treatment at Titan Medical. It just for one time it's like $250. It's like really expensive.
But the vitamin C, you could find it probably cheaper from one of your sources on the forum, and you could probably get it IV vitamin C. And
does aminoasylum carry it?
I don't know if they do. No, I don't know. I don't think they do. But we could easily find from India. I'm sure they have vitamin C ampoules that you could inject. The thing is,
you're talking about ascorbic acid.
Ascorbic acid, yeah, exactly.
I have that at home in ampoules.
So that would be great. But the problem with it is this. When you inject IV, you want to take a saline solution and mix it with a saline solution. So the antioxidant is not so potent that it damages your actual blood vessels as it comes in. So you want to dilute it with a saline solution. So maybe there's someone listening to this who's a nurse in Florida who could visit Boston and help him out to do the saline. I would love if someone is a nurse in Southern California who could help me out with the same exact thing. But basically, you dilute it with a saline solution. You have a bag. That's how they have bags, and you put in the thing, so it just goes in through you. But you don't really need to do that. You're just protecting yourself.
I need to ask though if I could my doctor, or once I get a new doctor, if I could use even vitamin C in higher dosages.
Exactly.
I do higher dosages with liposomal vitamin C mixed with my iron every day, for better absorption. And supposedly I was reading, me and Ariella were reading because we did some research that a lot of vitamin C is really not good on kidneys. So we got to look into that.
It could it's known to cause kidney stones, which definitely. And by the way, today I was researching. Apparently, like if you get kidney stones, you're more likely to get chronic kidney disease. And every time you get a kidney stones, your kidney is getting acutely injured. I didn't know this before. I have citations, but I was researching it a little bit today. So, yeah, maybe it could damage them seriously. But I don't know. You need an expert.
He said it would only affect the female's fertility if she was in kidney failure. But I disagree with him. I think it'll affect the male too.
Yeah, no, because you have uremic toxins in your body, so it's stressing out all your cells. So all the cells are a bit stressed out. You could help them with that glutathione, I assume, though.
How about on dialysis? I'd probably have better luck on dialysis, huh?
But brother, the thing with the dialysis, look at that's crazy study I read where they only have 10 to 15% of the function of a normal kidney unless they do it nightly, in which case nightly has 50%.
I am doing night.
Nightly has 50%.
I'm going to do the course the first 2 weeks. I already talked to Ariella. If I need dialysis, the first 2 weeks. But Leo, it's crazy that we're even thinking about this because I have no symptoms. It's fucking weird.
I know. Man. No, so let's talk about that because we were talking about it and you sent me a message basically. So basically this is the thing. You gave up your life for like 4 or 5 months. You gave up everything. You gave up
over 3 months.
Not your life, but like you stopped lifting and stopped trying to be harsh on your body and you were trying to be very careful. And you see your numbers at this level and they actually get worse. And so this is, I think, because I was trying to empathize after you sent me the message yesterday. I was trying to think like, how does he feel and stuff? Because I sent you a message, I was saying, I understand. But then I was really trying to think about it. And like, you're trying your best and the number is getting worse. And the thing is, it's not just that. It's even more than that. It's that, okay, at some point I'm going to have to get a replacement. So at the time being, why do I have to give up my whole freaking life to just sit around and wait? Well, the number's going to get worse anyway. You know what I mean? And if I'm going to get down dialysis, I could still lift and take whatever anyway during that time. Really, I only have to really consider this once I get the kidney replacement. So why am I making myself depressed or whatever, giving up my life, whatever, and actually seeing my numbers get worse, steadily worse, So
it's progressing at the same it was when I was off. So I came off, I was eating two to 3 meals a day max, lowered my protein, didn't train, took the 3 blood pressure meds, and I still got worse, in a month. In 1 month, it's still the same progression. I'm still getting worse. So I said, if I'm going to get worse, whether I lose my kidney a couple years earlier and I get to do what I love. And I know I talked to a bodybuilder today at the gym, and I don't know if he probably doesn't want me to mention a name, so I won't, but he'll probably come on this podcast and go public with it because he's getting a transplant. But he was an old school bodybuilder, and he's on dialysis, and he's still taking stuff, and he feels good. I mean,
so the way I thought about it is like right before this podcast, I had a podcast with Pete Rubish and Vigorous Steve. And Steve and I were talking about muscle tears, which is interesting. You brought up the muscle tear. And Steve mentioned that he'd gotten some small muscle tears in his muscles in his lifetime. And then I was discussing it with him because I noticed that I probably had a few muscle tears in my right bicep. My right arm was bigger than my left arm, then started getting the same size as my left arm, and then got weaker than my left arm. So at the end of my arm wrestling, I was doing mostly left arm stuff. So, and I would feel like when I would work out my biceps in the gym, which was very important for arm wrestling, I would feel like pain inside the bicep. Like it felt like minor tears. Every time I would go to work out, when I'd be done, and I'd lift heavy weights, I'd feel like actual pain in the bicep. Like normal people would take Tylenol. I wouldn't take it, but I would sit there a little bit in pain for like an hour or two after the workout, like not fully able to focus on stuff. But this is the thing. When I talked about it with Steve, he was like, yeah, I got those like little tears, but I stopped working out the body part for like 6 months, let it heal, and then went back to it. And then when he said this, a light bulb hit in my mind, and I was like, why the hell did I never even think about that? Like I knew something was going on. Every time I would go to work out my biceps, I'd be in pain for an hour after. I'd be sitting like at home, like silently in pain, like feeling pain in my bicep. Know something's going on, scared it's gonna tear, but then I would go back on the next day and just go back to work out. The reason was the biggest part of my day was going to the gym, and my strongest movement was my bicep. And so you telling me to miss that day, to wait 6 months, I never even thought about that. Like, you see what I mean? So when I was thinking about this, I was like, wow, think in Boston's situation, like you're telling him basically to give up his whole life in the hopes that it'll slightly deteriorate slower. You know what I mean? So it's
if somebody told me, hey, you could come back from a creatinine of 6 and get back if you came off everything for a year, I'd do it. But there is no one that I've talked to, no one that I've heard about who has came back from a 6 creatinine.
Me neither. No
Yeah, exactly. So what the fuck? And like I said, I did come off everything and nothing happened. Dude, I was taking like 100 mgs of test every 7 days, and I was like missing shots. I wasn't even, so. Oh, by the way, I told the guy, I'm like, dude, if we're gonna arm wrestle, I can't do the right arm. Like, we're gonna have to
Let's talk about this while we're on camera. It's better than having a phone call. Because listen, a couple of tips. When you go to arm wrestle, you want to avoid breaking your arm. The way to avoid this is actually really simple. When you go to arm wrestle, you're fighting the opponent. Say you're losing your left arm. You always look at your hand, your palm. So there's a couple of ways to arm wrestle. The main 2 ways is there's either you hook, which you turn in this way, or you top roll, which is turning this way. I used to top roll. So either way, whatever you're doing, you look at your hand, especially if you're losing. As you're losing, you're watching your hand the whole time. Watching your hand turns the way your arm is positioned so it can't break easily. So you always watch. The worst thing you can do is as you're losing, you're turning to the other side and moving. That's how you twist this bone and break it. So never do that.
That won't even help you to win anyways.
No, I'll tell you other things regarding winning, but this is so you don't break your arm, because you don't want you to break your arm. You have all the chest hair.
This guy's supposedly the number 1, like under 200-pound arm wrestler in Florida.
Okay, then don't let him go too seriously with you, and watch your hand. You can't win.
We're gonna go all out. But the thing is like the thing is I'm not. I told him I won't do the right arm. So but the thing is I'm going to be holding on to that handle with my left.
Yes.
Am I invulnerable of blowing my right pec by holding that? Or
yes,
not really?
Absolutely. Yeah, it can happen. People have torn their other bicep while holding the other one. So just be careful, be aware of it. Maybe don't use it so much as a force.
How about a pec tear? Have you ever heard of a pec tear on that thing?
I've not heard of a pec tear, but I've heard of a lot of bicep tears.
My shit is like hanging by a string right now.
So what I would do then is wrap your other leg around the bottom of the. Are you using a real table? A real arm wrestling table? Yeah, you can wrap your right. You're using your left arm. Wrap your right leg around the table on the side. Watch some arm wrestling videos. Maybe I'll send you some, and you can watch how they wrap their leg. So you don't really need to pull with your right arm. You've already wrapped onto the thing. You can hold your right arm a bit, but it's gonna involve your pec. So you gotta be careful. I don't know how you could. Maybe I'll think about it a bit of how you could do it. But anyway, I want to tell you something. So this is the most important thing a beginner can know. Arm wrestling isn't going sideways with your arm. And it's not even always just keeping your arm straight and moving your body down. It's actually pulling in, and you're not just pulling with your bicep, but you're pulling with your lat. You're pulling with your lat, and you're pulling with your wrist. So you're pulling with all of that as one movement, hooking in, and then dropping your body. So that's the hook movement. The top roll movement is a bit different. You're moving top roll really is a counter to a hook. It really doesn't really. I mean, people argue about this, but top roll to top roll works weirdly. Find out if he's a top roller or a hooker, so you know what to do, because it's one or the other, and then we can talk about it more later. Actually, it'll be fun. Yeah, it's on Thursday.
Huh?
Is it on Thursday? You said?
Yeah, but like I said, dude, if my pec feels really bad, I might have to postpone it.
No, then tell him not to hold the right arm, and you won't hold the right arm either, and you both put your legs around the side. That way, you won't harm the pec at all. Keep your arm tight. Then you could do it, but look at your hand so he doesn't break your arm, because he might want to show off and break your arm. I mean, I hope he's not that kind of guy, but if he's a top arm wrestler, he'll know how to not break your arm, and he'll know because you don't have the strength of the bone that comes with extensive practice. You know what I mean? Anyway, okay, let's get to some of these questions. Which by the way, you're talking about 100. You were taking 100 every 7 days and not feeling it or missing it and all that, and that was low for you. I think it must be, I don't know if it's 100 to 400, something like that, because I don't trust this thing that I'm taking. So I don't know how much, some old stuff. So, but I feel overwhelmed. I have so much energy, motivation, too much sex drive, which, I don't even know how. Start? I think like 4 or 5 days or 6 days ago. First, I started with HCG and FSH. And then I took that and it was overwhelming. Even the FSH and HCG by itself was overwhelming. I'm so desensitized that I realized the HCG and FSH was too much for me. Like I had to take a lower dose. So it's pretty fun. I'm only doing it for motivation, not for the gym stuff as much, because my daughter's coming in 3 months. So it's pretty soon. I'm going to have to, do a lot of stuff. And, I've been like 2 years without it. So now I'm using it as a super physiologic amount to just affect my drive and how I feel. Are you just
doing it once a week or twice a week?
I've only done it once so far, but I'm going to eventually do it twice a week and do HCG and FSH every other day.
Is it like test and intake?
Yeah. Yeah, but we should mention about the forum. So Bostin has some great things on the forum. I found, we're not going to mention who, but this awesome pharmaceutical testosterone, which I'm going to eventually use, which is really, really attractive. I know you're not into it yourself.
Did they finally get back to you?
Yeah, everything's worked out. But I know you're not into it yourself, but I'm really interested in them. I've never had those brands, some of them.
Dude, I'm using Test E from them right now.
Oh, are you really?
Pharmaceutical. They come in 5 ml vials.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Unbelievable. All right, let's take some of these questions, because we actually have a lot of great questions and I don't want to delay it too much. So, Right1848 says, do the pros outweigh the cons to using PEDs? I think we both have the same opinion. But
for me, it's going to be yes.
Yeah, but say why? Because you're in chronic kidney disease. So it means a lot for you to say yes at this point. Because looking back in your life, you're like, I got more pros.
I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with how I look, I don't know. I mean, I've came off before.
Bostin, you're actually a legitimate biohacker. You're not just like, I don't like that word. It sounds ridiculous, but you're actually like one of the first biohackers, because you like seeing the effects of the drugs almost more than competing.
Yeah, the competing is not the reason at all. Yeah. No.
You like experimenting.
If the bodybuilding died out, I would still be taking steroids. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, it's more the trial and error and like seeing what drugs do. Like today, sorry, I have heartburn. Today, I think the reason why I was so strong was because I took T&E with the injectable YK.
Oh, wow. Interesting combination.
Dude, I felt strong.
Wow. I miss T&E. I wish there was some kind of pharmaceutical T&E.
Yeah, and I just took 50 mgs,
Yeah, I think I might add that in at like 10 milligrams or 20 milligrams in the mornings, just to have a circadian testosterone where you have a little bit of a boost every morning. I don't know if it would make a difference, but
The first time I took it, I got blue balls. The first time back on it,
blue balls. Why?
I heard, and I talked to some people. They get it on their first time too. Blue ball. You've heard of blue balls where your balls get sore?
Yeah. Oh, get sore. Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably because it seeps into them. By the way, the testosterone can absolutely seep into the balls.
Yeah. Every time, Leo, I get on a cycle and I'm off, I get major blue balls.
That's funny. Yeah, but I don't know if they want my opinion, but I think honestly, like, even though I probably harm my health a lot from using high doses, which by the way I didn't need to do. Like, not everybody who uses PEDs tries to experiment like I did or like Bostin did. So not everybody needs to do that. But even what I did, I don't regret it at all, and I wouldn't take it back. Even though I changed my lifestyle and became very healthy, it was unlike smoking. Like, I smoked for 15 years too. So smoking, I regret. That was not overall, like, there was no benefit to that. That was stupid, and it was unfortunate, and so on. But steroids, there were a lot of benefits. Like, you learn, your personality changes. You can see changes in yourself. It's so fun when you're on Trenbolone, for example, and seeing daily changes in your strength or whatever.
Not to mention the great pumps.
I mean, it's really fun. It's almost worth it, you know. Whereas smoking was not really that fun, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Eustace
Did Scot Mendelson ever tear his pec?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Very badly, and that's why he only shirted benches now. He doesn't do raw.
And he got his fixed?
No. I don't think he got it fixed. No, I don't think you ever seen that picture of him that he's all blue?
Oh,
the famous picture?
Dude, I have seen that pic. I wonder if he got it fixed.
No, I don't think he did. I've talked to him about it a few times. That's really harmed his career.
And he still benches with him. He's nuts.
He benches with a shirt, so it's not as much on the pec, but he still does over 1,000 all the time in the gym. I don't know how I'm supposed to say this, but yeah, he always does. I just talked to him today, actually. He's such a upbeat guy.
Yeah, he could do 1,000 with a shirt on. That's insane.
You can do 1,000. Sometimes he does like, I think, don't quote me, but 1,100, 1,050 at 50 years old. He's really weirdly strong, man. Have you ever met him? Did you ever go to his gym?
Of course I met him. I met him he probably doesn't remember, but I met him at the Venice Beach. He was wobbling around. Something happened with his foot.
Yeah, his foot's messed up. But did you ever do you remember shaking his hand like it's like concrete?
Is his hand, is he a good arm wrestler?
I mean, for me, he's a good arm wrestler. He's not, because look, arm wrestling is the opposite of bench pressing. Bench pressing is like this, and these guys are pulling in. So it's totally opposite, but he's ridiculously strong. Like, you can't turn his wrist. No one can turn his wrist.
I looked at the best arm wrestler in the world, and they're not even that muscular. It's bizarre.
No, some of them are.
Some of them are. The best guy in the world isn't.
My friend who I've traveled with twice, Dmitry Trubin, he used to be ranked #1 in the world. He is muscular. Some of the audience could
Some aren't.
Some of them look like they live at a bar and have never ever exercised before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I actually had an arm wrestler on my show who's like a top arm wrestler, Kevin Merritt. He mentioned, like, actually Vazgen, my trainer, was asking him. He's like, "You don't look like you work out," because the guy looks like he drinks a lot. He doesn't even drink though, but he doesn't work. It doesn't look like he work out, but a lot of it is tendon and all that other kind of strength. So it's the opposite of bodybuilding. Anyway, Eustace asks, "Have you tried DHB or Ment?" I assume you've tried both.
DHB or Ment? Yeah, both of them.
What is DHB like, by the way?
DHB, it has by the way, if you have real DHB, that shit hurts. Like, there's some pip. I used this shit before. I'll never use it again. It's in my room. I'll never touch it. It's called DHB base.
Oh, I've heard of it.
It's like DHB suspension. Dude, that shit fucked me up so bad. You got to heat it for every reason. But DHB, I like to say it's like a supercharged EQ.
So does it
similar to EQ?
Why did someone compare it to Tren to me?
Because it's stronger than EQ, and I can see why they could compare it to Tren. The chemical structure is closer to EQ. Yeah, it's just strong. It's a very high end. Yeah, it's an androgen.
When you were on Met, were you very, very bloated? Was it unbearable?
Very, very watery.
So you can't use it realistically.
Muscle, yeah. You remember how, like, all these new compounds, dude? Like, it's so overrated.
No, they brought this out to make money. I know that for sure. But
yeah, it's for kids that, like, can't put on weight. So all the kids on the forums rave about it because it makes their weight go up no matter what.
Oh, interesting.
I got to like 280 bloated as hell on it.
The adventures of Boston. You know, if you had a cameraman living with you the last few years, there would be a lot of fun times for everyone. And especially because you're always in a good mood and like happy go lucky and, you know, doing these. Anyway, so he also asked, do you notice a major difference between pharmaceutical and UGL products? If so, for which compounds and what were the effects? Did you require a lower dose? I'm copying some Russian pharma parabolan or I don't know what it is. Parabolan, the Tren hex.
Can you say that again? What's the question?
So basically, he's saying, do you notice a difference between UGL and pharmaceutical stuff? If so, how? Do you have to like reduce the dose?
There's no such thing as pharmaceutical grade Tren, but I have used vet grade Tren that was made from Finaplex tablets. I had somebody crush up Finaplex and make it and brew it for me, and it was strong as fuck. The cool thing about Finaplex, dude, is you don't get the cough.
Yeah, but the thing is, so when we were talking about this privately, so do you prefer testosterone that's not UGL?
No, I use anything. I'll mix them up.
Yeah, but
like
say
right
was
now,
your
you half UGL, half farm.
No, but we're talking about different. No, say it was your final competition ever, and now you're using the real stuff. Pharma for everything that you could get. Okay,
dude, I hoard all the pharma. If I ever did compete again on dialysis, I have all the pharma stuff.
So it would be all pharma at that point, right?
Well, yeah. With what you can use pharmaceutical,
it would be pharmaceutical. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So,
except on the growth hormone, I'm not going to pay 8 IUs for farm. I would do 4 IU pharma, 4 IU generic.
Interesting. See, this is where it takes knowing Boston to be able to get the answer, because I know that you have it's different now. You'll use UGL because you're not taking it seriously, but if you take it seriously, you'll switch over. Exactly. So I'll just mention briefly though. I did use Tren Hex in the Middle East, and it was strong. And also I used Tren Ace in the Middle East and Tren and Anthate, and all were stronger than any UGL I tried in the US. I don't know.
You got it shipped here when you lived out there?
No. When I lived there, I got the Pakistani and Iranian.
Ooh, that probably was good.
Yeah, that stuff is really strong, honestly. That stuff is very strong, and
that's probably that shit that Hani uses. That's why he doesn't want to move to the U.S.
I'm telling you, man, he really is actually. I'm sure he's using that stuff because we were in Dubai. We were getting the same stuff from Iran. You know, I love the Iranian bodybuilders would probably be bringing that stuff over, and that stuff is strong. You start injecting Tren, you're 22 years old, you're peeing brown in 3 days. You're by accident. You didn't even intend to overdo it. That's really strong stuff. Okay, really quickly. So, Gorectomy says, Leo, you seem to be quite opposed to Masteron. I'd love to hear Boston's opinion. As someone more into strength and bodybuilding, I see it's more neurologically skewed. Drier benefits as a huge plus on paper. So he wants to know, what do you think? Do you think Masteron is valuable? And I think he's misunderstanding what I think, though. I don't think Masteron is not valuable. I just think that you can get the same effects from taking testosterone with more aromatase inhibition, I think, or with halotestin. Like, it's never the best thing. But it is good. I used to take Masteron for years. I took it. I think he's misunderstood.
I have a really good response to Masteron. I get really hard on it.
Me too. But if you took something, like if you were at I guess if you're trying to be a bit hard all year round and be healthy, maybe Masteron may be some addition to.
I'm on it now. I just started.
I guess so.
I'm on 50 mgs 3 times a week, which is fucking nothing. I used to do 100 mgs a day. So I usually run 700 a week, and I'm running 150 mgs a day. Dude, Masteron for me is a good drug. Like, if you don't lose hair, like, because it obviously will be, that's the hardest drug on your hair. To me, it's very useful. Like, it definitely hardens me up.
Don't you feel like you can get the same effect from taking Tren and the aromatase inhibitor at high 100%. Dose with a test? Yeah.
100%. But when you're in a contest prep, right? I think you're right. You probably get the same result running test and Tren, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Tren does everything for you. It does everything. Exactly. It's an all-purpose drug. Yeah. But when you're getting ready for a show, if you can get 1% better adding another drug, just 1%, you'll do it.
Yeah, I got it. So Bryce Broden asks, Boston, what's your opinion on using SEO before one has reached a large amount of muscle mass? And there was another question also. Let me ask the other one also. Mick something says, Boston, on average, what degree of SEO gains remain after the maintenance protocol that so many guys use? So I think these guys are interested in the idea of like having less muscle and how the SEO, what does it look like afterwards if someone.
So if you use the SEO properly, you shouldn't lose anything. Like my arms are the only thing that stay on me. Like everything else faded, but my arms stay big. But that's why a guy today asked me, he's like, how much do you take of that shit? I'm like, I ain't on that shit. I haven't taken it forever. Yeah. So last time I used CEO consistently was 2016. If you do it properly for the 24 weeks, I have people that just do 24 weeks. They gain their 1.5 inches and they never go back and they keep it all.
Wow, I could have
You'll lose
reached
a
20.
little bit of inflammation, maybe like a couple centimeters just from the inflammation, but you'll keep everything else. But if you use it very short term, it won't. But if you use it the right way and you train properly and you eat properly, you'll put on size that you will never lose, like me.
I really believe, Boston, that most of the bodybuilders can't have like arms bigger than 19 inches naturally. Like, because most people can't.
Grew.
Like
Mine
white,
grew.
maybe some white people can and some black people can, but most Arab people can't, Iranian people can't, Indian people can't, East Asian people. Like very rarely can they get above 20 inches naturally. Yours couldn't, huh? What was your peak before you, or you probably all
It was horrible, dude. It was like 17.
Really interesting.
16 and a half, 17. But remember, I started when I was 20, 19, 20. 20. First Synthos cycle, I was 20. Dave Palumbo. He told me that he was like, your arms are sucky as fuck.
Dave used it quite a bit.
He's like, your arms are sucky as fuck. Buy my painless pumps.
So tell me, do you think that all the top IFBB guys, like 70% of them had been injecting their triceps at least?
So, yeah, I don't like to use the term all of them because there's obviously
70,
some exceptions
60.
to the rule, but a good percent of them, because they order from me, a lot of them do. A good percent of the guys at the national level and pros, they do use synthol or they use some sort of site enhancement. Some guys will use the hyaluronic acid, which it's okay, but it's not like oil-based CO because you lose it all. Some guys will be using hyaluronic acid. Some guys will use what's called oil-based, or some guys will just spot inject with their gear, meaning they'll do like a cc and a half of gear mixed with a cc and a half of steroid oil and volumize. So yes, they're doing some sort of spot injections for sure.
But both you and Nick Trigili, both of you guys have like relatively big arms without working out that much. So there must be some results.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I really think, both of you guys, and different methods.
Leo, don't get me wrong. If I stop eating and stop training, everything gets small.
No, but your arms are huge.
But when I get back into it, it blows right back up to where they were. So it's like, it's actually tissue that I gain. It's not just bullshit.
It's also the structure of the arm changed because you had that gap for so like the whole structure changes. It can make sense. We'll do a few more. So actually, this one's more for me. Let's do something. Okay, this is cool. So Derek Appabon asked, thoughts on fasted cardio compared to regular cardio while prepping? Are all calories burned the same? Obviously, I think you're going to agree with me that fasted cardio is better, right?
100%.
Yeah, but let's say why it is scientifically, because all the science people are saying that it's not, and maybe it's not. Maybe there are a lot of studies because of the study design that show that, it doesn't matter or whatever. But think of it this way. Your food is not just calories in your body and glycogen, but also signaling molecules. So every time your insulin shoots, you get a signaling to your body to grow and not to burn. So if you've eaten recently, you've gotten more of a likelihood of insulin being released, right? You also have other kinds of things. So for example, if you take your leucine, your amino acid leucine, before you start doing your cardio, you'll lose less muscle, but you'll also probably lose less fat because leucine is a signaling molecule turning on your growth pathways, mTOR.
I agree with you 100%. I think using amino acids, it may preserve muscle. But if you're on a lot of anabolics, how much is it really preserving? And I think it will cut into your fat loss.
Yeah. So there's like very much, I mean, maybe the studies won't show it, but there's reasons to think that fasted cardio is better for sure. I think so.
So a lot of pros that I've talked to, like they like to use the amino acids in off season before they're fasted. And then in pre-contest, they cut it out completely. They'll just do coffee.
That makes complete sense. And let's talk about why scientifically for the audience to know also. Why would a pro bodybuilder want to do like Ronnie Coleman, 2 hours? Because I remember when I interviewed his trainer, Chad Nichols, I was asking him like, why do you make these guys, is it better if they do cardio for 2 hours a day and eat a bunch more calories than if they just didn't do cardio and reduce the calories? And he said it's better. And I tried to think about why is it better? Because they've done this in practice. It definitely works. But why does it work? So I started to think about it. It's not the calories. It's the signaling molecules of the calories. So the food is telling your body to grow, but you don't actually want the calories. You want the signal. So you go burn off the calories so you don't get fat, but you still get extra signaling to grow. Because people think of it as just steroids and all that, but the food itself, because of insulin, because of the amino acids, because of all this stuff, tells your body also to do things like grow. Interesting stuff.
I actually have experimented with fasted cardio versus post-workout or any other day, and I'm able to keep the client's food higher doing fasted, they get leaner. So it definitely is true that fasted is definitely the best source of fat loss for sure.
I really think so as well. But unfortunately, people don't realize that you can design a study to show anything you want it to show, almost within some constraints. Like, it's all about how you design a study. And what's important about a study is how it reflects, they call it external validity, how it reflects the real world. So if you have a study telling you the opposite of what we see in practice, maybe the study's wrong, not the practice. You know what I mean? And to realize that, you have to study a bit of study designing and get into them in detail.
Leo, since you love drugs, you know what I just took? I never took drugs, and I
hey, that's one of the questions. Tell me.
I don't think it's helping my pec at all. I'm taking this stuff called Soma. It's 350 mg.
Yes.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
I'm taking, and I took Cyclobenz.
What's Cyclobenz? I don't even know what that is.
I'll tell you exactly.
But Soma, people love Soma. There are a lot of Soma addicts.
I'll tell you the name of it. Hold on.
Since I love drugs. That's not true. Don't build this reputation for me.
Cyclobenzaprine.
I don't know what it is. Let me check it out.
It treats stiffness caused by muscle spasms.
Okay, so it's a muscle relaxant. Ah, there it is. Let's see the pharmacology. I do love pharmacology, though. That's true. A lot. Oh, it's an antagonist of the... Oh, that wouldn't be nice. Centrally acting. Ah, interesting. Yeah. So you would be invulnerable probably to LSD right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the cyclobenzaprine should make you invulnerable to mushrooms and LSD. I bet you if you took a low dose of either of them, which you shouldn't take mushrooms, by the way, because they can cause inflammation and aggravate
I tried the chocolate mushrooms, and I took the microdose. This was months ago, and I didn't feel anything.
But wait, how's the Soma? Because some people really love Soma. You might be taking a low dose, though.
I took just one pill. Dude, it definitely made me sleep, and it's very relaxing, but it didn't do shit for my pec because it still fucking hurts.
Yeah, but if you take a little bit of a higher dose of that, you'll find an unusual high. People love that a lot, and it may, by the way, promote relaxation and growth in bodybuilders also. It's like the way they use GHB, they could have used Soma, but it's a later drug. But anyway, so someone was going to ask that, though. I won't say his name, but he was going to ask you, Bostin, what's your experience with alcohol and other drugs? Do you think of them favorably? Which ones do you like the most, and so on?
I hate alcohol. I don't even like the taste. I don't do it at all.
Yes.
Every once in a while, maybe 3 times a year, I'll do a Bloody Mary at a restaurant or some shit on a special occasion. I've tried marijuana. I've tried coke. I've tried the mushroom. I didn't feel anything, but I got more. Somebody sent me liquid mushrooms. I got to try those.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I think that's another great thing about your forum. Yeah, I saw that too.
They have liquid.
Yeah,
mushroom.
I know. Yeah.
I want to try everything. By the way, I only tried coke once because my dad was in love with it, and I was like, why was my dad so fucking in love with this shit?
Because you're not trying the same coke your dad tried. That's the difference.
I wasn't
this
a
is
fan
stepped
of
on.
it. Yeah.
Oh, this is stepped on. It's like 10%. Was it in California?
No, the guy that's in jail now is in jail for selling steroids. He sent me some, but it supposedly was the good shit because it made my whole mouth numb. And the first time I did it wrong. The pieces were falling out of my nose, and I felt nothing. So I contacted him, and he's like, "No, dude." He's like, "You got to chop it up." So because I took that shit in big ass chunks. So then I chopped it up, and I did it the right way, but. I don't mind trying drugs once. I just don't like to do it ever again.
I agree. Yeah, you could try many drugs once as long as you don't know that it's neurotoxic. Although, to be honest, with that philosophy, I've probably killed some brain cells. So I'm not sure that it's entirely a sound philosophy. But I've tried heroin, for example. I've snorted heroin.
That guy from the forum sent me a whole mushroom, and I was like, "Eat this whole thing." I was like, "It's like a dried mushroom." He was like, "It tastes like shit," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know how I'm gonna eat this. I'm gonna gag."
No. What you do is you grind it in a blender, a coffee blender, so that you don't get because sometimes the mushroom will have parts of it will be really strong, and so don't take the whole thing. Grind it and weigh what you take, so you know how much you take each time. But yeah, you can try many things as long as you try it once. You can't like for example with heroin, I snorted it once. I had the exact same response. I was like, oh, this is what they're addicted to. It's like oxycodone because you could snort it. If you smoke it or inject it, it's probably too pleasurable. You probably can't get away with it. But it's just like an oxycodone, like a light oxycodone or something like that. The issue is that they're injecting it.
Dude, I tried GHB a week ago.
Oh, GHB is worthwhile.
Yeah, but I IV'd it.
What? Is
Yeah,
that possible? Dude. What?
Yeah, because the guy was like, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you to IV it because it's not sterile." But I said, "Fuck it." I said, "He's like."
He brought it up himself.
But he says it tastes like battery acid. I was like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna IV it." Dude, I shot 3 cc's in my vein. I had to use a big gauge.
3 cc's?
Dude, I was lit. I almost puked.
Oh, that's way too much to take. That's
no, it must not be because he told me that's the starting dose. And I was high, dude. But I wasn't like,
not for injectable.
It was hot, dude. It fucked me up.
That's
I couldn't even get to the room, dude. I was wobbling to the room and then I had to hug Ariella.
No, that's good. I've been there. That's cool. No, as long as you didn't fall asleep. If it was too much, you would have just been knocked out. What they call G'd out.
I ate and everything, but I was cooking food and I was wobbling. But anyways, he's actually gonna make me more. He's on the forum, the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's gonna make me more, but he's gonna make it. He's gonna sterilize it so I can't IV it. It's stung because it has like solvents in it, but he's gonna do it so I don't have this.
I would be very interested. Look, GHB is one of the few drugs. I think like marijuana, GHB, those are like maybe for me the only 2 drugs that were not that harmful and were helpful. Like sometimes, like I don't think it's a good idea to be smoking marijuana all year, but it's not going to kill you if you do it.
I researched GHB. It didn't have anything. It didn't say it was really toxic to the organs.
No, there's not. I've really looked into this. Like I've researched a lot. I do have a suspicion that using it frequently because of its effect on the TSPO receptor can cause accumulation of fat on the liver. But other than that, there's no reports in the literature of liver toxicity or severe problems, even from its precursors, 1,4-butanediol, which is metabolized by aldehyde dehydrogenase, and GBL, which is metabolized by alcohol dehydrogenase. Both of them are metabolized by, one of them is metabolized by enzymes involved in alcohol, but even those, there's not reports of people getting like liver failure or something.
Check this out. I IV'd 1 cc with ephedra and L-carnitine.
So interesting.
5 cc's total. I mean, it mixed in the same syringe. Dude, I was at the gym for 3 hours, I think.
You're having some good times, man. This is good stuff. We should live next to each other. That would be very entertaining. Anyway, by the way, old school bodybuilder asks, how is Musclehead doing? I thought it would be cool to ask for an update.
That's
I know. I realized you were mentioning it. But I wanted to ask you that, yeah, I'm sure the audience got it too. But I wanted to ask you, because I noticed there's a guy called Musclehead that's following me on Instagram. Musclehead, I think, has a phone, doesn't he?
No, he did. And that's why he got put in the hole for 3 months. They caught his phone.
For 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months, dude. And then he got put in the hole. But you know what? He got caught because he did a phone interview with Johnny Bravo. You know Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. Oh, really? He did
a phone interview on his cell phone with Johnny Bravo. And they were like, what the fuck? Like, they only get like 10 minutes on the prison phone or whatever. Yeah. And he did like an hour or whatever. And they were like, it's not in the books. So they raided his shit and they found it.
Damn. Is he in California, by the way?
No, he's up in Maine, like right on the border of like Maine and Canada. He said it's cold as fuck, dude.
Oh, that's horrible.
Because we text all the time because they do text.
Oh, he still has text?
Computers and everything. They just do text.
Oh, no way. Interesting.
Dude, feds is like a joke kind of.
Yeah, always in the feds also. Okay, that's why they moved him over there. Okay. Yeah, it's safer.
He could buy as much food as he wants with his commissionary. Like, he's set.
No way.
As long as you know the cooks, you could buy food, and he can eat like 300 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, you can do that in LA County Jail too if you have enough pull. You can drink 30 little bottles of milk every day, so you can do a little work.
Because they had a good gym too, and they were training every day. And then once COVID hit, they wouldn't let anyone use the gym.
Interesting. They have a gym like weights,
bench press, weights, everything.
No way. Yeah. They removed all the weights from most of the prisons.
I thought that too, man. I thought that too, but then I talked to my other buddy who just got out of federal prison in Ohio, and they had weights.
Because really? Wow, shocking. Because that's one of the worst parts of this prison idea is that you got to take a water bag
and put him in the hole.
What? Yeah,
they put him in the gym and they put him in the hole.
Down. He's living.
That's a lot of fights happen in the gyms.
Yeah. Or around the phones also, by the way. The phone's very dangerous. Very dangerous area. Because people get pissed off. They're calling the girlfriend back home, find out she's cheating. So they're getting pissed off. Also, like you're waiting by the phone, he leaves the phone. There's so much potential of fights around phones. Yeah, it's very interesting
You know
stuff.
how he said he got his first phone? He said drones come by and they drop him on the roof and they climb up like monkeys.
I heard about that. Yeah, apparently in California they do that. They go right outside the prison and drop it off.
Oh, they get steroids in there too. He can get Clan, Anavar, Anadrol, Winchell, everything. He said the fucking guards bring it in. Isn't that bizarre?
That's incredible. Yeah, they get a lot of weed too. Some of them can just stay smoking weed the whole time they're there.
They have drugs in there, dude. I'm shocked.
Yeah, they have a lot of heroin also, meth, all that stuff. That's true. All right, so McShake and Bake Falafel Cart. I think we'll end it, but we have a lot of questions, but it's been 45 minutes. I think we get tired. Me and Boston get tired because we do it late. So we'll end it early, but we'll continue the questions next time. So I'll just ask one more. McShake and Bake Falafel Cart asks, why do you think guys on forums rate Anavar and Primo so lowly? Which I didn't know they do. He says, what unique effect does each have pre-contest?
He said they're poor.
They're rated lowly. I don't think that's true. Forums really love Anavar.
What form is he on? I don't know. Everyone that I've talked to likes Primo and they like Anavar, so I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Those are like two of the drugs that are really like less harsh that really give good results.
That yield results properly, despite like if you think about it, like testosterone and Primo and Anavar, particularly Primo and Anavar. Those are the two drugs that are really, I mean, what else could we think about? I think like microdosing Anadrol, like pre-workout, and then Primo, I think, should be the base of most of the cycles, really.
Primo is the reason why that kid's saying that is because it's hard to get real Primo. But if they go on my forum, we've tested like 3 or 4 of the UGL Primos and they were good. Yeah.
That's certainly true. Okay, we'll do one more. So, yeah, this one's interesting. So, Brenton Vance says, and I think this is very interesting for Boston too. Do you think anyone can get pro-quality size? Or does everyone have genetic... I think what he means is, do some people have genetic limitations on their total size that they can get? And he says, for example, some of these guys were 250 pounds at 20 years old. I've been at it for a few years and only just hit 220, and that's with really pushing the food. What do you think?
I really think there's genetic limits. I think if you're a Chihuahua, you'll be a Chihuahua. If you're a pit bull, you'll be a pit bull. You can make that Chihuahua bigger. You can make that Chihuahua feistier. Yeah. You could make improvements, but you'll never be able. Like you're never going to make a guy that's meant to be 130 pounds, a 250 pound lean freak. There's genetic barriers. I don't care if you take all the drugs in the world. I think there's 100% genetic barriers.
Absolutely. And let's talk about it specifically. The people who used to say they did that, they went from 130 to 250. They were all fat and they used to take pictures with their shirts on trying to show their abs in mirrors. So those were, you know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about the guys that said that they...
No, there's one specific guy who shows his forearms in pictures.
Oh, my God.
No, but those are the guys who said they went from 120 to 250 and ripped. They were not ripped. They were actually just fat at 250. And so that's how you can get 250, but you'll be fat. This is what all I wanted to say is I agree with you completely. I think that there's genetic limitations to size. Like, for example, think of it like logically. Your IGF-1 receptor, no matter what your androgen receptor does, your IGF-1 receptor will limit your total growth in your body. Like, you know, giants have this IGF-1 issue, growth hormone issue. So if you have a malfunctional IGF-1 receptor gene, like I do, mine is specifically malfunctional. So even if I have high IGF-1, my receptor doesn't feel it well. I can never grow as much as somebody that has a full one, like my wife. My wife is 6 feet tall. I'm 5'10". You know what I mean? So like, yeah. I bet you my children will be bigger just from growing up from my
Dude,
wife.
If she's 5, you said she's how tall?
She's 6 feet tall and not skinny. Like
your daughter, you're having a daughter, right?
Yeah, I'm having a daughter, but inshallah there'll be some boys after.
Be tall, dude.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Hopefully, but especially for the boys. I mean, I don't mean about the tallness, but like I had limitations. I couldn't probably get that much bigger. Like I probably would end up just getting fat if I tried to go above. Like really, I was always a bit fat above 220. Personally, I mean, I never tried.
No, you look lean in that picture you posted.
But that was like 220 or 215 or something like that. Yeah. But the point is, I would just, it's not possible to get that much bigger for me. I think there's something that goes on with the IGF-1 and the insulin and the growth and a lot of meals for years, but you're never going to become like Nick Walker if you don't have...
I do think pro bodybuilders are pro bodybuilders regardless of the drugs. Like exactly. They would be the best physiques regardless. I think the drugs just make it superhuman.
Exactly. I really agree. So, okay, we'll leave it at that. By the way, what do you think of Nick Walker's chances at his coming show? I don't know the details of it, but I know he's like, he has this...
I have him second. I have him coming in second. I think Justin Rodriguez will beat him.
Justin Rog, who has an incredible physique.
The reason why is his shape from the front is really good. I think Justin Rodriguez will beat him. I do think that he will beat Chad Nichols' guy, the black guy, the Ayubi, the guy with Blessing.
Yeah. The thing is, though, Nick looks worse on stage than he does in pictures, right?
Way worse.
I don't know if Blessing's like that too. I don't know if he looks
Blessing good, but I think he has too much muscle. I mean, I don't know. Nick's a freak, man. Like he just. I wonder what it would take for him because he's just a little delusional. He thinks he's going to win 10 Mr. Olympias.
I love it. I love it. He's just completely delusional, but it's nice.
Not going to happen. But I wonder what it's going to take. I wonder what's going to happen. No, but it's one thing to think that and actually go and say it.
But he announces it like proudly on a podcast, like I'm going to win,
with a straight face.
Bro, I'm winning in 2 years. Like not even next, like in exactly 2 years. Next year I'll be in the top 5, but next year I'm going to win. So
and he says with a straight face, he's bizarre.
Me.
So my guess, man, is he's not going to be a bodybuilder a long time. He's going to get very frustrated, getting beat by genetically superior guys. I want to know how long it'll take for him to leave Jansen, because Jansen's really his only form of income. He has them he paid for him to come out to Florida. He's paying for his apartment. He got him out to Florida. He has him sponsored by Revive and Raw Nutrition.
Like a really loyal guy.
So Jansen's his backbone. But if Nick really wants to go to that next level, he's going to have to get another coach. And at that level, is he going to be like, oh, well, I can't because this is my money. Like, I'm making money. Because remember, before he was living in his parents' basement.
Yeah.
I used to troll him about that. So he's going to really have to, when he doesn't place the way he wants to, he's going to have a very strong wake-up call to see, is it worth the money or do I want to improve as a bodybuilder?
Do you think Jansen can't take him to, wasn't Jansen with the gentleman who passed away to the end?
Dallas McCarver.
Dallas, wasn't he with him to the end?
Yeah, but Dallas was already a freak. Chad Nichols trained him.
Chad developed. Do you think or he was just a freak all the way around?
Hani did the best job with Dallas. Hani Rombod trained Dallas. Dallas left him for whatever reason. Went to Matt. Left Matt for
Chad.
Yeah, but you know who put on all the muscle on him was one of my coaches in the very beginning. One of the best guys in the industry. He'll never do a podcast. He'll never be seen because he's like really old. John O'Regan.
Oh, that's the guy who makes everyone big. Yeah, that's the big deal.
The food he wanted me to eat, I lasted 3 days on his program, but he's the one that brought Dallas up, and he's the one that turned Dallas pro. He turned him pro at the North Americans, I want to say in 2012. And then that's when he went up to Hani after that, and then he went to Jansen, then went to Chad, then back to Jansen. Jansen's good, like when he applies himself. Like I said, the average person, do not hire him. He won't even pay attention. His wife will do your programs, and he's a good coach. But for a guy like Walker that wants to be a top like Olympian, he's going to have to work with somebody like that knows bigger bodies better.
Specifically, his best bet would be Hani, right?
Hani would be the best for everyone. In fact, Derek Lunsford just got it with Hani. I don't know if you saw that.
Wow, that's a good sign. He's
with Evogen and Hani now.
Well, that's a very good sign because he has all the talent to do it, really. But
the talent, the knowledge, all the credentials. He's an actual biochemist. He's graduated in biochem.
By the way, have you been watching Fuoad's podcast lately?
Kind of. Which one?
So I watched the last one because I don't know what it's about, but I watched the last one. Apparently, the British guy, the light-skinned British guy who's competing and like going up the ranks and is going to compete in the top 10. Apparently, he disappeared for the last 2 weeks. So,
you're talking about James Hollingshead.
Yeah, James. So I don't know if you know this, but James made a post about us, me and you, on Instagram, on his Instagram.
Oh, on his story.
Yeah. He made a post like, who are these idiots? I don't know what, because we were mentioning his coach. What's his name? Patrick. So, which we weren't even. Clearly taking it light heart. But the problem is, James is actually a really nice guy. But I noticed, like a couple of weeks before, I saw one episode where I noticed James couldn't control his face. Like his face was just moving all the time. He looked really angry, uncomfortable. I don't know if you pay attention, Boston. You're gonna start laughing. You'll crack up, especially put on mute and like fast forward it and just look at his face because he can't control himself. So I thought he got on Tren and he can't handle the dose or whatever he's on. Then he sees our podcast, gets mad about it, makes a story. Then apparently he leaves the show for a couple of weeks and he comes back on. If you watch the last episode, this guy is so unstable. He can't sit there. He cannot handle whatever he's on. It's just killing the guy in his brain. I mean, it's really unfortunate.
And he's another guy that doesn't have the genetics to go that far. I'm telling you, like, he's never going to be a top 5 Olympian, dude. He doesn't have the structure for it. He doesn't get the separation.
But he also has no shoulders, right? Like unusual, like he was born shoulderless.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. And then when that Patrick guy diets him, he gets flat and he doesn't separate. He's just not that, he's just the.
But he's a really lovely guy. I was surprised that he made that post about us. I actually really liked him. He strikes me as like humble.
He's just really loyal to that fucking idiot.
Which is probably because he's a good guy in the first place, which makes sense. Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of guys suck that Patrick guy's dick, like they're on his cock like crazy.
I think he's got like some kind of secret society, or it's like or it's something going on. It's some kind of corporation. They all work there.
Most of the guys he trains look like shit too. Like, go to his tag photos, dude. Like that motherfucker only shares like his top guys. Dude, they look like shit.
You're gonna upset them again. They're gonna come after us.
He trained this kid who has probably one of the best genetics I've seen in a while. That Florida Poison. Have you heard of him?
No.
I think he's from the Czech Republic or something, or somewhere. Dude, that kid's a freak. He brought him on stage fatter than fuck. It was so sad.
Wait, so are you saying that Nick Walker is gonna basically pull a Ben Pakulski, and like? Is that what Ben did basically? He thought a lot of himself. He thought he was going to become Mr. O. He had great genetics.
I'm not saying that Nick's going to have health issues like Ben. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I
think in 5 years, Nick won't be bodybuilding.
No, because Ben has never admitted he has health issues. Yeah. So let's leave that aside. But yeah, exactly. So that he'll get frustrated and leave it basically.
Frustrated that he's not going to make the top 10 at the Olympia. He's going to keep trying and he's going to get very frustrated. And I don't think we'll see him after 5 years.
I hope not. I hope he's anyway, I think he can make a huge mark. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think he's awesome and he can make a huge mark. But obviously he can never win.
You think he can win the Olympia with his structure?
No, he can never win because his structure is I don't want to say a word, but it's not pleasing to the eye. Yeah. Like it's not like you look at it like, wow, that's incredible, but he's also short. It's not even like, it's a lot of things going on. He's like a short, squat, and he's just all muscle. You know what I mean?
He's an Instagram Mr. Olympia.
Yeah, but not even. Only if he shows one body part at a time. Yeah. But if you show the full body, even that side pose where he does like his body, like, you could still see his waist is wide there and he's short. You could still see it, right? So
like he could get beat by a guy way lighter, like a Sergio Oliva, who has better shape.
But he has incredible muscle. I think he could be one of those bodybuilders that will be legends of the sport in history. Like if he kept going at this.
If he keeps going, maybe. Yeah, like a Dorian.
Or like one of those guys that had one crazy body part, like Marcus Rule, or like a shoulder. You know what I mean? He could be one of those. He could be a Marcus Rule.
Now, what do you think about those varicose veins in his calves? Is that dangerous or no?
I don't know what they mean. Those aren't varicose veins from what I can tell. Those look like normal veins. He just looks like he has a lot of vasculature there. It could mean that his body had angiogenesis, the birth of new blood vessels, because he didn't have good circulation in the area. It could be something genetic. It could be just something superficial. Who knows? I don't think they aren't varicose. Varicose is like a different thing. It's like a death of a blood vessel that's within your skin that's not getting good blood supply.
Have you seen those things, man? He's even said they were varicose veins.
He's called them varicose. I know. I didn't really pay attention that much to them, to be honest. Maybe I should look again. But they look like normal forearm veins to me.
No, dude. When he gets lean, they look fucking terrible. They're squiggly.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way he's going about, like, unfortunately, Nick is gifted in growing big. So his destiny is to take the biggest risks, and thank God he's shorter, right? If he was taller, it would be way worse. But he's going to take the biggest risks of all bodybuilders, because he's not an aesthetic guy. So his thing is mainly he has to be the biggest, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way, because even if right now he just stopped growing bigger and tried to make his waist smaller, it will never be that small.
Yep.
So he has to, Anyway, it's interesting. So anyway, boss, I'll see you next week.
Yep, sounds good. We'll try to get a guest. Did you say you're going to get Lee Priest on?
Yeah, I can get Lee on. I'll ask Lee.
All right, we'll do that.
All right, brother. Have a good night. All right, we'll talk.
Good night too.
Bye-bye.